Last week I talked about the verse of scripture where Jesus is being tempted by Satan, and I talked about the second one. Well, the third one, Jesus is also being tempted. 3 times it records temptations in the Bible, and this one says, in Luke chapter 4, verse 12, Jesus answered, it says, do not put the Lord your God to the test. And if you remember this verse of scriptures, Satan was kind of tempting Jesus to actually throw himself off of someplace, and the actual angels would rescue him. I think it was right from the temple that he was supposed to toss himself off from the temple, and we know that the angels would rescue him, but Jesus says, do not put the Lord to the test. And I think that we as Christians should do the same thing. We should hear what Jesus says. And this verse of scripture is actually referenced also in Deuteronomy. Jesus, when he answers Satan, he's basically just reflecting on what was talked about earlier in the scripture. So do not put the Lord to the test. If there's anything that you are doing or saying or living that is putting the Lord to the test, we should remember that God is God. He's a sovereign God, and we can't always know what God's going to want in certain situations. We need to be Christians and live according to the Bible, and God will take care of the rest. We do not put the Lord to the test and try and do things and believe that God's going to work it out one way and we think it's another way. Just trust God. Just remember that He is God, that He is sovereign, and He makes the rules, not us. Anyway, I'm going to send it on to our next music video, but first I'm going to give Joy an opportunity to tell you how you can write into the show.
If you want to write into the show, just write to Christian Music Videos, care of KTF Productions, P.O. Box 1583, Portage, Michigan 49081, or you can email us at writecmv@hotmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
She seemed to like that. Yeah.
Well, that does it for another episode of Christian Music Videos. Your VJ Surgeon on location in Haiti right here at the New Missions Complex. I hope you saw some video of my little girl. Her name is Gael. She's a wonderful, beautiful, beautiful child, and I'm looking forward to seeing her next year and bringing more Christian hits from you next time I'm here in Haiti. But I want to remind you about the verse of scripture that we talked about, that we should not put the Lord to the test. He's a sovereign God, and when you come to God, this is one thing I've been thinking about, is when I come to God, I really need to understand, remember that you're coming to the King of Kings. If you come to a king, you don't always ask him for something. You don't always put him to the test. You don't always try and get what you want. You have to remember that God is God, and we come to him sometimes with fear and trembling, but we have to remember that he is God. He is King. And we need to reverence him, and we need to remember that he is a sovereign God and that he is gracious enough to answer our prayers. But we shouldn't always come with a laundry list of things that we want from him. And we should also remember that we shouldn't put him to the test and think we know God so well that we can do whatever we want to and we know exactly what the outcome's going to be. We've been taught through the Bible the character of God, but we have to remember that we're not God, and that God may do some things that we think, well, I don't believe that God would do that, but he does it because he is a sovereign God. He knows much more than we do. His thoughts are way above our thoughts. So we need to leave the business of God to God and not put God to the test, and make sure that we are living lives that are pleasing to him and humble lives that are pleasing to him. Anyway, that does it for this episode of Christian Music Videos. I hope to see you next week for more Christian Music Videos. I have one more week here in Haiti that I want to spend some Christian hits for you. I hope to see you next week, but first I want to give you the CMV bonus track.
Want some free Christian music? Log on to ktfproductions.com to win a free Christian CD. Every month, 3 names will be drawn. This month, it could be you.
Join me next week for another episode of Surgeon's Scriptural Prescription. But until then, remember, a verse a day keeps the devil away.